Hello, my friends. Welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday for Tuesday, November 18th, 2025. This is Jennifer. Welcome back to my sewing room, guys. I did get the top made for the Christmas tree skirt that I talked to you guys about previously, so I'm really excited to share that. I'm not following a pattern for this. I am using an old Christmas tree skirt and just vibes basically to decide what I want. So this is kind of how I started. This was my little sketch that I made thinking that I was going to use squares and maybe put some snowflakes on it. And then I did a bigger version in EQ because I just wanted to figure out how big to make my circle. I ended up going with 4-inch squares. You can see here it's 13 squares across, 13 squares down. I didn't put the squares in the corners because they're going to get cut away. So I just didn't see the point in adding that extra fabric. I used a compass to draw another circle a little bit. I mean, I used a compass for all the circles, but I used my compass to draw another circle here so I could figure out placement for the snowflakes that I wanted to add. And those are actually in silver, so you can see, I think you can see them from here. You can see there are silver snowflakes. They go in a circle all the way around. So when this is quilted and under the tree, it'll have snowflakes all the way around, set one square in. So they'll just be right at the edge of the tree skirt all the way around. I had collected machine embroidered snowflakes pretty much the entire time I've had an embroidery machine, which I got my first one in 2016. I have not picked a back for this yet, and I haven't decided how to quilt it yet. So I'm hoping to at least choose a back this week. I will be out of town at the end of this week. My son will still be here, so the house will still have an adult in it. But I will be out of town with my husband over the weekend, and so I won't be doing anything probably Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if I have time during the week, I will try to at least get the back pieced so that it can go on the frame next week. We don't decorate for the holidays until after my son's birthday, which is at the beginning of December. So my goal is to have this and the 2 stockings done by the end of the first week of December. It'd be great to finish it by the end of November. Probably can do that, but I am not pushing myself because I want this just to be fun. I did a little bit of mending earlier in the week because I had been helping my eldest child move out of their apartment, which I mentioned last week. And on the last day, which was when we were cleaning, I had a catastrophic blowout in one of my pockets in my jeans. So my phone has a pop socket on the back, which I cannot show you because I'm recording on the phone, but it has a pop socket on the back, and there was a little hole in the pocket of my jeans and the pop socket got stuck inside of it. I didn't realize it, and I yanked on my phone to get it out of my pocket. It just ripped the whole top of the pocket off. So it was the opposite of this pocket. This is not the repaired one. So it ripped right here, and I'll share a photo of that with you guys so you can see what the hole looked like. And this was my repair. These are my most repaired jeans. These are the ones that I did the tutorial on how to replace the crotch. So these have the replaced crotch. I have patched up holes. These jeans came with worn spots. All of them ended up turning into holes, and I've patched them at this point. So these have been patched so many times, but these are my favorite jeans. They're the most comfortable. They fit me the best, and I wear them all the time. I actually have a second pair of these because I like them so much. So a quick rundown of the repair. So I ripped the thread out to about here, and then I fixed this hole. I put a little piece of denim on the inside, and these have already been washed because I've already worn them again. And I did a little repair on this side. And then I dug around for some scrap fabric. This is just a fun little piece of scrap that's left over from some fabric that Jules gave me years and years ago. So this is a piece of scrap fabric with a piece of cutaway interfacing inside. I dug through my embroidery scraps and I had the perfect size. So it's literally put together kind of like a piece of bias tape or a binding. And then it has the stabilizer inside. And then I measured where I wanted it to land, sewed it on top, turned it up to make sure it was right, and then I cut away the old pocket, and then I just sewed it back into place. So I really love the way this came out. It's really sturdy, and why not? These are so repaired. Why not just make them cute? The other little bit of garment sewing that I did last week was another alteration to make one of my shirts fit me better. I bought this during the trip to Greece that my husband and I took for our 30th anniversary last year. And this was made in Greece. It was using Greek cotton and local artisans, and that's my favorite kind of souvenir. So anyway, so I'd had it for over a year and hadn't worn it a whole lot, and there were two reasons. One, the neck had sort of a tall piece here that had a drawstring in it, but when I tied it here, it came down, it comes down, this comes down kind of low. When I tied that here, I had this huge gap right here, so I couldn't really wear it without something underneath, and I didn't want to change the look of the shirt too much. So what I found was if I moved the drawstring lower down, I have a little bit more modesty and it's just more comfortable. So I actually did a rolled hem up here with my serger and just cut that piece off. And so now it doesn't have a drawstring, and I like it much better. The other thing I did was these arms were quite small. I did the same thing to this that I've been doing to my t-shirts. And this was the trick I learned from Abbie, and just put a little wedge. I accidentally made it a little bit too big, so I just put like a little dart in it. So this was actually one piece of fabric. It has a little dart just to make it a little smaller. And I've already worn this and it's so much more comfortable. Everywhere I wear this, I get compliments because it just doesn't look like anything that you would get here. I did get a little bit of mail from Abbie. So she sent me a sweet little card and some little Vermont themed stickers. And as you've probably already figured out, a couple of patterns. She came across these two Raggedy Ann and Andy patterns. And even though I haven't done a Raggedy Rescue since February, they're still some of my most popular videos, and I do have a couple I think planned for next year. Nothing urgent because I like to do these for people. I don't like to just do them willy-nilly. So I have a couple of ideas maybe for next year. So thank you, Abbie, for these, especially this one. I've never seen this one before. I didn't have this version of this pattern, but I have seen it before. So this one is especially, I've never seen the little Raggedies before. They're almost like chibis. They have like the bigger head and whatnot. So yeah, those are super cute. Thank you, Abbie. A couple other little things ongoing. I'm doing some vinyl labels for my husband's 3D printing stuff, and I have a sock repair in progress. I talked about this little guy last week, but you can see him in action. This is just something I've been doing when I have like 5 minutes here or there because it doesn't take a really long time. But I've been really busy recently, so I just haven't had a ton of just sit down and sew time. So I got a lot done last week, but it was only maybe 2 days worth of sewing. So I'm really happy to have this to share. I hope to have at least the quilt back ready by next week, and who knows what else. So I hope whatever's going on in your life, you have a good week. I hope you have a crafty week. Thank you as always to my coffee subscribers. And someone reminded me last week that I do have super thanks. So if any of my videos, these videos or my tutorials or whatever, if you love them, super thanks is always appreciated. I am not good at asking for that kind of thing. So anyway, have a great week. Have a crafty week. I'll see you next week. Bye.